Bye-bye. Saturday Live likes nothing better than to try and explain the world around us without using expert search engine-related material or rehashed journalism. Not that any of those things are bad in themselves, it's just that our preferred method of inquiry is real people. The term asexual may well be one that's bandied around without people understanding the true meaning behind it. An asexual person is not someone who has simply chosen not to have sexual relationships, but rather someone who doesn't feel sexual attraction. Research suggests that up to 1% of the population may be asexual. Mark McClemont knows that he is, and he came into the Saturday Live studio complex to tell us more about his life. I started by asking him when he first began to feel differently about sex.
Well, this would have been pretty much around about sort of puberty sort of time, when people were all sort of taking an interest in the opposite gender, and I thought, well, I don't really understand what's going on here. And they sort of talk about sort of things like masturbation and having girlfriends, and I thought, well, I don't really get this. I don't experience that.
But lots of boys and girls feel that, don't they? Because you mature at different times, and if you're going to be a late developer, I mean, you can spend 5 or 6 years listening to conversations that you don't really understand.
Yeah, but this didn't happen to me. I mean, it just sort of carried on like that. And when you're at school, you don't want to appear to be different to anybody else. You want to keep your head down, otherwise you're liable to get picked on.
So did you kind of play along with the conversations and just pretend that you were feeling the same way?
Sometimes, most of the time, I was just evasive or just avoided that sort of thing, or would change the subject to something else. And so I could usually dodge that kind of conversation.
Did it worry you at all, though? Did you not like the feeling that you were different?
Yes, it was quite uncomfortable, and it was sort of worrying that, why are these other people like this and I'm not? Why don't I experience these kinds of feelings, and, why aren't I like other people? So, yes, that was a bit worrying.
Did it ever really interfere, do you think, with your studies or, just being able to be friends with girls or with other boys?
Not really, no. It was helpful in terms of schoolwork because I could sort of concentrate on that without the distractions.
It's a parent's dream, isn't it?
So that kind of thing, yeah. So, but it didn't affect friendships.
And did you ever think, well, maybe I'm not attracted to girls, but I'm attracted to boys?
I did actually think about that because I do actually find men to be aesthetically attractive, just not sexually arousing. So I did actually think that I could well be gay.
At what stage did you think I need to identify myself as something? I mean, did you come to that conclusion? Did you want to be able to have a term for who you were and what you were or weren't feeling?
It was more at that time was avoiding the issue more than anything else and sort of not wanting to talk about it. I didn't sort of think, well, what am I? I mean, that did sort of run through my head, but it wasn't an overriding thing. I need to know what I am. It's like, there's something wrong with me, but I'm certainly not going to...
But did you think that? Did you think that there was something wrong with you?
At that sort of time, yes, because I thought, well, I don't get these sort of sexual type feelings, that sexual attraction for other people. I'm not experiencing that when other people plainly are.
Did you find yourself in lots of difficult situations, though, where women and men did want to have sexual relationships with you and did want to, move past a certain point?
I've not really had that kind of experience. Well, not at that time. That didn't really happen. I just sort of kept myself to myself apart from certain friends. So people didn't tend to make passes at me or chat me up. So why that would be, I don't know, whether it's because I'm not sending out the appropriate signals and all the rest of it. I was just not seen as desirable in that sense. So I didn't get people trying to sort of pick me up.
When was it that you discovered that there was actually, something that you were, that other people were like you too?
I didn't start using the term asexual to describe myself until the mid-90s. And then I didn't discover the actual existence of other asexual people until the 14th of October 2004.
Right, this is obviously a key date
yes.
in your life.
Yeah.
What happened on that day?
Well, there was an article on the front of the Guardian newspaper, and it mentioned asexual people as opposed to celibate people. And I thought, that's it, that's me. I thought, yes, I was right. I'd thought before that, and I was actually using the term asexual before I saw it written down or heard of it in that context. And I'd assumed that there must be other people out there like me, because you've got homosexual people that prefer their own gender and then bisexual people that prefer both. So I thought, well, there's got to be some people out there like me that don't find either gender to be sexually attractive. But I thought the chances of knowingly meeting such a person would be vanishingly small. Then I came across that article on the front of the paper.
And were you literally leaping up and down with joy? I
Yeah.
mean, was it an absolute blessed relief?
It was, absolutely. Not knowing that there was other people out there like me and not fully understanding that. And then discovering that there were, it was fantastic. It was an epiphany.
Have you now been in contact with lots of other asexual people? I mean, is there quite a vibrant asexual community in this country?
Yes, there is. It's part of AVEN, the Asexual Visibility and Education Network, which is an online community of asexual people.
And do you go to the meetings?
Oh, yes. The first meeting I went to was not long after I joined AVEN, which was January of 2005. And that was in itself another epiphany. Actually meeting and talking to other asexual people who have had similar kind of experiences to me. That was wonderful.
Are there quite a few people within the community, though, who have really suffered because... and they haven't been able to be as accepting of themselves as you've obviously been?
Yes, there's a whole spectrum from people that fully accepted themselves to people that are questioning, and then people that are sort of really concerned, and some people that are worried by the fact that there is nothing, as it were, wrong with them. Because I can imagine that some people might actually think, well, if there is something wrong with me, then there's maybe some sort of treatment or cure for it.
You carried this feeling that that maybe there were lots of things that you should be doing. Do you still have a sense of that you should consider having a family, that you should consider having a long-term, possibly sexual relationship?
Well, no, not anymore, no, because I've sort of looked at this and thought about it. And this is how mainstream society and the media and mainstream religions present it, is that this is the goal in life. You have a partner or, get married and have kids and everything else. And I thought, well, looking at my situation and thinking of my experiences in life, I think, well, this isn't actually true. A lot of people, that's the right way, they can find happiness in that manner. But for me, I thought, well, it's not necessarily the case. There's so many other things in life to enjoy apart from that. That's just one aspect of life. So,
do you regret, or I don't know whether resent is too strong a term, the lack of opportunity, though, to have a family?
No, I don't, because I live to the advantages of my lifestyle, and then I see people that do have families. I mean, there are joys, but there's also, it's lots of hard work and frustrations and sleepless nights, and so there's all these things, and of course that totally changes their lifestyle, because their whole lifestyle then revolves around looking after their kids and doing things with their kids. And whereas I think, right, I fancy going out on my motorcycle today, I can do that. I have freedoms that a lot of married people envy.
What do you think of your own relationships? Do you think that they are, I don't know, perhaps they're healthier than other ones that you witness where sex gets in the way and it makes everything complicated?
I wouldn't say it's sort of healthy. I mean, people can, there's nothing wrong with people having sex with each other. But the relationships I have are not sort of romantic type relationship. They're friendships, or the ones I've attempted have been very short. As soon as they realise that there's no sex in the offing, they lose interest fast. So,
have you ever had a relationship where, because you have loved the other person, you've thought, gosh, I wish actually I could consummate this?
Well, yes, I have actually. A couple of times I've fallen in love with people. It would have been nice to be able to sort of continue that, or, as you say, being able to sort of consummate that. But at least I was in the situation where the next step would have been sex. So even though I knew inherently before that there's no way I'd be able to have sex with someone, I was actually in a number of occasions in that situation. I thought, well, maybe if I'm in the right situation, something will click, and then think, right, that's how it works, and away it goes. But that didn't happen. So it just essentially confirmed what I already knew. But, if anybody were to say, well, how do you know until you've tried it? And I think, well, I have tried it and I can't do it. So,
would you want to have a very long-term, possibly lifelong relationship with another asexual person?
Yes, that would be an icing on the cake situation. It would be nice, but, there's not that many asexual people. So,
do you think most people understand what asexuality is? The fact that it is very different from a chosen path of celibacy, or even, as the AVEN website says, just plain old-fashioned reticence?
It's not a choice I've made, no. I mean, it's what I am. There's nothing, I do not find other people to be sexually attractive. Where a celibate person is someone who chooses not to act upon their sexual desires, whereas an asexual person doesn't have those desires in the first place.
If somebody offered you a drug that would give you sexual desires, would you have any curiosity in taking it?
I would, actually. just to see what it was like, just to experience it. But if someone said, we can cure your situation or make you into a sexual person, I'd think, well, probably not now, because I've fully adapted to my situation. I live to the advantages of my lifestyle, so I'd have to sort of start all over again and adjusting my lifestyle to that. And I thought, well, I cope fine as I am now. But, just to sample it, see what it was like, I thought, yeah, I'll give that a go.
Mark McClemont, who came in to see us yesterday to talk about his asexuality. Sheila Hancock, Mark is a man who's very accepting of his life, which is always good to hear, isn't it?
I thought that was absolutely fascinating, yes. I really, intriguing. I mean, the difference between us all is what's valuable of being a human being. And I mean, I've got girlfriends who haven't married, and people always regard it as odd and you've failed. Or if you don't want children, then you're considered odd and strange. But you're not. It's just the choice or the person that you are. And I think I was fascinated by that. It's absolutely wonderful.
And also how dreadful to feel the social pressures so much that you force yourself to live a lie.
Yeah.
And I thought that's what Mark said so brilliantly, was just the fact that he's accepted who he is and he has found the means to enjoy his life.
Absolutely. I mean, the sex is constantly thrown at us in advertising and all the other things, and to have resisted the pressure of that and have the courage to say, no, it's not for me, I think is wonderful.
You once said in an interview, and these things always come back to haunt you, Sheila, sorry about this, that if you hadn't have fallen in love with John Thor, then you might actually have preferred the company of women. And I wonder where your sexuality lies at the age of 76.
Oh, dead and gone, darling. I mean, maybe that's why I sympathise with that man that was talking. I mean, I'm past it now. I haven't got the energy to sort of whip up the enthusiasm for that. Friendship is incredibly important to me now. Incredibly important. And friendship is a much underrated thing. Friendship sustains very often when sexual relationships don't. And we omit it at our peril, I think.
Yep.